Hello, it's Jim Hutchins for the Jerusalem Connection Truth Report for this week. This week I want to pass on some observations from Dr. Michael Brown. Dr. Brown is a Jewish believer, Messianic Jew. He is a conservative radio talk host. He's an author, a professor. He is a noted proponent of Messianic Judaism and a commentator on issues related to Israel, especially from a biblical standpoint. Dr. Brown said this: Did you know that Jesus was a rabbi and not a reverend? That Christ wasn't his last name, but the Greek way of saying Messiah? Did you know that Jesus' original Hebrew name was Yeshua, and that his mother's name was Miriam, not Mary? That his first followers were Jewish men with names like Yochanan, Yaakov, Yehuda? Did you know that the letter of James was actually a letter of Jacob? And that the letter of Jude was actually the letter of Judah? Did you know that the big controversy in the early church was not whether Jews could follow Yeshua and remain Jewish, but whether Gentiles had to become Jews in order to follow Yeshua? After all, he was a Jewish Messiah. Did you know that Yeshua didn't come into the world to establish a new religion called Christianity, as much as he came to fulfill what was written by Moses and the prophets? And then did we end up with two? How then did we end up with two totally distinct religions, Judaism and Christianity? How did we end up with two totally distinct calendars, with Judaism celebrating Passover and Christianity celebrating Easter? You can find the answers to these questions in a video that he's done on his website. Just Google Dr. Michael Brown. God says this: salvation is of the Jews. It's not of the Gentiles. It's not of Muslims. It's not from Muslim or Hindus, Confucius. Salvation, the saving of our souls, and how that is done, how that's accomplished, comes from the Jews. For I tell you that Messiah has become a servant of the Jews on behalf of God's truth, so that the promises made to the patriarchs might be confirmed, and moreover, that the Gentiles might glorify God for his mercy. As it is written, quote, "Therefore I will praise you among the Gentiles, I will sing praises of your name," John 4:22. I think we need to be aware, constantly aware, that Yeshua, Jesus, said things will probably continue just as they are. They're too deeply entrenched in history and tradition. And they will remain that way until he returns and brings about the time, quote, of renewal of all things when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne. That's in Matthew 19:28. Acts 3:21 says also, until the time comes for God to restore, restore everything as he promised long ago through his holy prophets. I don't know what all that will include, but I believe it will include the restoration of a Saturday Sabbath. I believe it will include the restoration of the holidays, biblical holidays, spring holidays, fall holidays. They'll be celebrated by believers, Christians, and Jews, Gentiles and Jews. But the thing I think it's important for us to remember is that salvation comes from the Jews, and that is the truth.